Hello, um, I'm Tracy, and for some reason my laptop jumps in and out. There you go. You see, I had a plan for what I was going to talk to you about, and then, which is what I am going to talk to you about, the ADHD bit of my brain decided to talk about what it could see in the moment on the screen. So, and also, now the reason my hair looks such a mess is because partially I don't care, but also because I do care, which is the craziness of being me, I bought some straighteners, but I don't know what to do with them. And in comes dyspraxia, you see. So we press the buttons, and then I can't, I have no dexterity, and I have shocking any sorts of executive function, but I can't, yeah, I can't use my fingers, I can't. So I seem to have frazzled my hair, so I probably shouldn't have done that. But my daughter likes me to look less than crazy sometimes. So, what I want to talk about today is exactly what I've started doing lots of. I think we should show, don't tell. It's all very well that we all write and we talk about this is how it is to be autistic. But until we can, which I think would be brilliant, until there's a chip that you can have for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. I mean, if you could bear it for longer, that would be great. And actually, can I have one in return? And we can actually do that to kill a mockingbird thing and walk around for a bit in someone else's boots, I think is the quotation. Because I have no idea how it feels to be born with that inbuilt book of rules that apparently neurotypicals, NTs, predominant neurotypes, lots of words, lots of other blogs about that and vlogs. I don't know how it feels. And I didn't know people felt differently till after diagnosis. I started reading and had my goodness. Oh my goodness, no wonder they don't understand me. I just thought we were all the same. And then I was just a bit more kind of confident and out there. Obviously diagnosed as autistic, but that still didn't make sense. So then I met a really lovely lady who just sat down with me and she said, "Oh, for goodness sake, Tristan, it's so crazy. Obviously, it's ADHD, isn't it, that we're seeing on the surface?" So back to reading about that. And it's true. Also diagnosed with dyspraxia, which back in the day was clumsy child syndrome. Nice. So the thing I keep trying to talk about is you never know what you're seeing. And actually, the same is true for people who've been through lots of trauma, and lots of us actually do have complex post traumatic stress disorder as well, because of many factors. Probably lots of us have been through lots of abuse, lots of rejection, but also masking for so many years and not knowing yourself. All of it creates has a toll on your mental and physical health. But again, back to where I started, we don't know. There's a book about fragmented selves for people working in counselling, and you don't know what you're seeing about that person. So you could be seeing their inner child, or you could be seeing a rejected partner. You don't know in that moment, and we have to look at the whole picture. And I think it's the same for all of us. So there are so many stereotypes and myths, I think. This is unscripted. So, but then welcome to my brain, you see. If I script it, you're not going to know how crazy this is. So, what I thought I would do with the cunning use of hats is sort of give you an example of what it's like. And this is episode 1 of What's It Like? I call it Autism, ADHD, and Other Friends. They are my travel companions, are they not? And I'm thinking the only thing to do now is to embrace that they're with me and try and work with them, because I've been fighting for over half a century, sort of to get rid of them. And I also believed, which I think has a place, but that if bad things had happened to you, you shouldn't dwell on it and excuse current behaviours for it. You should just move on. But it turns out, after studying psychology and counselling and things, that you actually do have to confront some of it, because it's probably following you around like a shadow and you can't understand. So, but it's probably there all the time. And with an autistic brain, so I'm going to choose a hat here. So we've got with the hats. See, I love hats and I love bright colours. Now, that's where I'm my own stereotype, but lots of people don't like them at all, and lots of people like very plain things. Certainly, it's not me. So you see, what would happen is that my autistic brain has been up most of the night, because when you live on a planet that you don't understand, that doesn't change. When you don't have the guidebook, we can change it a bit, and I'm trying to do that, but each day is another day I don't understand. And I don't seem, and I talk to lots of people and I work with lots of people, this seems to be the way for all of us. The uncertainty is the only thing that's certain. So again, we've got to find a way to, I don't know, embrace that. So autism doesn't know what's happening today. So autism is up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and autism is thinking, well, what happens if? But there's too many ifs. Lots of people call this catastrophizing. I have written a lot about this. I call it executive planning. And it can be very positive. If we go places, most possibilities are covered, and all the options are there, and which is why I travel, because it filters all this overloading, overwhelming stuff into something that everybody knows is overloading and overwhelming, so it doesn't look so ridiculous for me. That's a whole nother long. So autism needs to sit here, we can't get out of the house, and we need to make some lists, and we need to think about the possibilities, and we need to work backwards. But the trouble is, how far do we go? Is it tomorrow? Is it 3 years? Where do we want to worry about? Well, it depends. I've got a call today with the communications officer from the sunflower lanyard people, which I engineered, but of course now I'm absolutely terrified. So we need a script for that. But now I don't know if Teams will work, so I can't move from this chair because I'm thinking about that. But because, and I had a wrist brace for dyspraxia because I fell over and broke my wrist, but actually can't get that on in time. So, and that might be a bit insulting, might it? So we'll have here. So the problem is that I have nothing to do with Norway. I bought a hat somehow. Dyspraxia means that I literally click the wrong buttons, and then I spill my coffee on my laptop, and then you see, and we're going to do this for then ADHD thinks, oh, there's some marks on the window over there. I don't like that. I'm going to clean that. And then ADHD thinks, well, this is really boring, so I'm going to set up a website, which is what I did last night. And I clicked some buttons, and it appears I spent money and paid twice because I don't concentrate and I don't write it down. But then, you see, autism doesn't like that. Autism's like, you should be really ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed that you can't concentrate. I imagine this is the words of my teachers, parents, and just about everybody I've ever met in my head, if I'm honest. I kind of do know about schemas. I'm so bad and wrong. Why am I bad and wrong? Why can't I concentrate? Why didn't I do that? Why did I spill that? But autism's not very happy about that, because we could have sat down quietly, we could have thought about it, and we could have planned it without diving in and being ridiculous. And then what we get is, oh yeah. So we have a bit, well, not a bit, we have complete, but then we get complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And complex post-traumatic stress disorder has a really tiny window of tolerance for emotions, probably as does my autism and all the other things, but this. So then I'm ashamed of myself. So then I burst into tears. But then, and I haven't even got a hat for this, we're going to have to put a glasses case on my head, because I actually forgot about this myself. And then this is rejection sensitivity. Then when rejection sensitivity dysphoria arrives, I feel completely useless, completely worthless, and it's understandable that nobody likes me, and it's understandable that nobody loves me. I think I felt embarrassed saying that word, but because that's how I feel in that moment. It doesn't mean that's true. That's what I'm then overwhelmed with, because I'm wrong and I'm bad. Because that was the narrative that was given to me for most of my life by most people I met. And to respect that and to think about that sensibly, I'm going to put an autism hat back on. So I'm going to go and research that. And read and read and read. It's a thing called monotropism, which is a fantastic theory of autism, which is much more positive. It's a super skill to super focus and actually get something done, as opposed to the, oh, you're fixated, and all these negative words in diagnosis. That I hate. And I actually have a positive list, should anybody want it. So you see, we could have sat down and researched all of this, but it's probable that in the moment, and actually what's happened now is, and I can't remember which one it is. No, this is ADHD hat, you see, but I am having an ADHD moment now because I can't even remember what I was going to tell you. So we did have autism hat, I've remembered, but this is ADHD hat. Monotropism. So I could have sat down and super focused, and I do, and I do, and I do, and I do, and I write 5,000 words on something, and I'm going to be really constructive, and I'm going to change my life, and I'm going to change the world. And then I don't concentrate. But then because I don't concentrate, I'm really ashamed. And I can't remember which hat is shame. I don't really know. I'm going to put rejection sensitivity back on. But I'm rejecting myself. So what I'm trying to say is, supposed to wear a purple hat at my age, apparently, so it all says. You never know what you're seeing, you never know what you're getting, and I don't think we know that ourselves. But it's why the idea of a spectrum, it's why the idea of high and low functioning, it's why they are all disliked a lot in the autistic communities and totally misunderstood. Because you could see me with my hair straightened, and you think, in fact, people say, don't they? But of course, you're high functioning. They never ask a question. It's the same as, but you don't look autistic. Which actually, look at me, people. Maybe, maybe I do, if you knew what you were looking for. So hats for today, but I want to keep doing this, and I think more of us should get involved with embracing all of our parts. Because what you see is somebody like me, and I'm masking. I'm masking because I've got a drama degree, I'm a teacher. That's how I covered up my life as a child. I entertained people. And when the camera goes on, I can do it. So you'll see me like this. You don't know that I can't cope at all, and I'm shaking and I'm crying inside, but that'll only happen later. I think this happens for lots of us because we have to survive in the world, don't we? So welcome to the world of autism. Maybe it wasn't that at the start. ADHD. And these are my real hats that I love. I'm not making fun of a hat wearer. This is me, the hat wearer. I never go out with that. This is executive planning. Even if I'm going to the Sahara, because it can go very cold at night, I would still take a woolly hat. It's unheard of, literally unheard of for me to go out without a woolly hat. And this is rejection sensitivity. Rejection sensitivity is actually a clinical thing. So it feels like a pain, and I didn't know that. So again, you want to navigate life to avoid rejection, but how can we do that? And especially when people flag you up as different, then they tend to reject you, which is a whole new monotropism study of why. Why are neurotypicals, predominant neurotype, different words, why do they need to be so tribal, and why is it so easy to exclude? The writer, whose name I can't pronounce, the guy who wrote Homo Sapiens, he actually thinks that the ability to kind of gossip, the water cooler thing, actually helped tribes because they just, without any thinking through at all, were able to hate the other tribe, but then they formed communities. And of course, we'd have been the ones not at the water cooler, or I shouldn't speak for someone else, going, well, actually, why do we dislike them? I'm going to write a thesis about it. They're probably just different. Let's go and ask them some questions. And, apart from the fact that, I think this is dyspraxia, isn't it? So dyspraxia actually is also a neurological wiring differently, which a lot of people think it isn't. Dyspraxia means that if you turn a tap on, I'm soaked. I don't know why that is. And my goodness me, if you saw the way I can't fold sheets, isn't that a weirdness? I just can't do it. So that's that. And then complex post-traumatic stress disorder brings the whole lot together and makes life really difficult, actually. And I do look at myself with some sense of humour because I think you have to. I think you have to recognise that some of the stereotypes are quite funny. I love a train. I love a timetable. I have the Bradshaw's Guide that Michael Portillo lugs around with him. So that's weird. Maybe monotropism, write a thesis about that, but monotropism would be part of autism, so we'd need an autism hat back. So that's probably quite enough of that. But if anybody else wants to join in with hats to show who we are, hats for our fragmented selves, and maybe we can start exploring the myths, the misconceptions, and the misunderstanding, because you don't know which hat you're seeing, and you don't really know. I wear hats for protection, actually. They sort of make me think I'm hiding, which is hysterical, because when you're out in Tesco's in this, I'm not hiding at all. People think you're out there and you're cool, but it's some sort of defense mechanism. Another thesis that I will do nothing with. I write a blog, I make videos, I've made podcasts, I've actually self-published books. When I'm in this is autism. But then the most important thing is, because of, this should be a better hat, rejection sensitivity dysphoria, I'm too scared to look if there are any comments. I'm too scared to look if I even sold a book, because someone might have rejected me. And I expect to be rejected, and they'd be right. And then I would have a confirmation of complex post-traumatic stress disorder about what I did wrong and what I did bad. And so it goes on and on and on. And I don't want sympathy. I want to explain. At the moment, I'm doing a big project about the lanyard. I don't want sympathy. I don't necessarily need a seat on the tube. I want someone to, all I want is when I say autism, ADHD, complex post-traumatic stress, rejection, any of it, people go, oh yeah, I get that, different processing. Oh, get that, different wiring. I just wish, and I don't know how, and help me, tell me, how can we change it? Because people say they understand, but they don't. They're saying what we want to hear. I've written lots about this. It's confirmation bias. People are scared. They're scared to offend. Nice. They're scared to be cancelled. Not so nice. So they say, if I say autism, what do they think? They think all manner of things, which will then come out in their language if you delve further. What we need is ideas, please. 3 questions that are kind of really nice in a Louis Theroux kind of way. We can say to someone, wonder what you think about autism, but in a way that it's a compliment and kind, but that we really quickly expose the fact that they don't know, giving us a reason to go, okay, there's gaps in your knowledge, because nobody's ever told you the truth. But they've got to be willing to listen, and that's the other bit I'm missing. So I have just set up a WordPress site where people can share stories, if anybody would like access to that, because I just think all these disparate voices, it's great, but we're not making enough of a difference. All the charities, it's great, but the people that go there possibly are, they're really, really struggling, so they've got their own issues, but we're not making a difference. The academics talk to each other, they publish research, sits behind a paywall, helpful. And when I've been in these environments that I have then run away from, how do you get into the neurotypical communities? They say, no, we're not going there. We've got to. The old neurodiversity slogan was nothing about us. Well, it's still present, but nothing about us without us. But I think nothing about us without them. They're the majority. We have to work with them, and therefore we have to understand them, back to the chip, and I'd like them to understand us. So thank you for joining me for my hat extravaganza. Any ideas, anything else that we can share and muck about with, I would love to hear from you. See you soon.